Hello fellow musicians and music enthusiasts. In this video we're going to talk about the Royal Conservatory of Music Level 1 Practical Piano Exam. All the information here is based on the 2022 Piano Syllabus, which was released by the RCM in March of 2022. Some of the things we'll talk about here are the overview of each of the major sections of the exam, the substitutions that you're allowed to make if you choose to, the grading scheme, so how the exam is graded, and finally any changes that were made from the 2015 piano syllabus. And with that quick introduction, let's get into it. So first of all, let's take a bird's eye view of the exam. We have three major sections here. We have our repertoire, technical requirements, and musicianship. So let's talk about each of these sections in turn, starting with repertoire. For the repertoire section, we need to learn three different pieces, one from each of these lists, so list A, B, and C. Now, if you're brand new to RCM exams, you should know that lists basically represent music from a particular genre or historical period. For example, list A has music from the Baroque and classical repertoire, list B, Romantic, 20th and 21st century repertoire, and list C are inventions. And keep in mind that you can earn 2 extra marks per piece if you have it memorized. Moving on, for the technical requirements, we have 2 parts here. We have technical tests and we have an etude. So let's start with the technical tests. We need to learn some scales and chords here. So for the scales, we need to know 3 major scales: C major, G major, and F major. And for the minor, we need to know 3 minor scales, A, E, and D. And for each one of these, we need to know 2 versions, so the natural and the harmonic version. Then we have our contrary motion scale, so C major contrary motion scale, and this is actually the only scale we need to play hands together. And finally, we have our chromatic scale starting on C. For the chords, so just like with the scales, we need to know 3 major chords or triads, C, G, and F, and 3 minor, A, E, and D. And for each of these, we need to know them in both broken and solid form. And finally, for the etudes, for this level, we just need to learn 1 etude. Moving on, for musicianship, we have here 2 parts, ear tests and sight reading. For ear tests, we have things like clapback, intervals, chords, and playback. And for sight reading, we have rhythm and playing. So let's talk about each of these in a little bit more detail. So the clapback section is where the examiner plays a short melody for you, and you have to clap back the rhythm as accurately as you can. And for this level, the rhythm is going to be in either 3/4 or 4/4 time. For the intervals, this is where we have to identify a distance between 2 notes. And here we're going to have either a minor third or a major third. For the chords, again, we're identifying the quality of a chord here or a triad. And the options here will be major triad or minor triad. And for the playback, this is where the examiner plays a short melody for you, and then you have to come up to the piano and play it back. So here we have some possible keys, can be in C major or G major or A minor, and the starting note is going to be either the tonic or the dominant. And for the sight reading, for rhythm, this is where you will see a rhythm in front of you written down, and you're going to have to basically clap and tap it for the examiner, and it's going to be in 4/4 time. And for the playing, this is the actual sight reading. So you have a short musical excerpt in front of you, and then you have to play it as best you can. And the possible keys here are C, G, or F major, or A minor, and the time signature is going to be 4/4. For the substitutions, again, these are optional. You don't have to substitute any of your pieces if you don't want to, but if you do choose to do that, you need to be aware of these rules. So students can substitute a maximum of 2 pieces, one from repertoire and or one from etudes. So for the repertoire substitution, we can substitute list A or B piece with a list A or B piece from the level above, which is level 2, and list C piece, so the inventions, cannot be substituted. Or you can choose to substitute the list B piece with a teacher's choice, which has to be of similar length and difficulty. For the etude substitution, you can replace or substitute an etude by either an etude from the higher level, which is level 2, or a teacher's choice or a popular selection list. For the grading scheme, so we have our 3 major sections. So let's look at how much each one is worth, starting with repertoire. So this section is definitely the biggest one with 56 marks, 16 for the list A piece, 18 for list B, 16 for list C, and a maximum of 6 marks for memorization. Next, we have 24 possible marks for the technical requirements, 12 for technical tests, and 12 for etudes. The etude, we have only 1. And for the musicianship, we can earn 20 marks, 10 for ear tests, and 10 for sight reading, which brings us to a total of 100, with the passing grade being 60. So what has changed from the 2015 syllabus compared to the 2022 syllabus? Well, the answer is nothing. The only difference really is the pieces that you will see in the repertoire and etudes. These have been updated a little bit. Some new pieces were added just to freshen things up a little bit. Otherwise, everything is exactly the same. So that's it for our overview of the RCM Level 1 or Grade 1 piano exam. If you are planning to take this exam, we wish you luck, and we will see you in the next video.